I'm Ray Parker Jr. You're back. You're at the Ray Parker Jr. Show or Ray and Ray Studio. We don't know what to call it yet, but we'll figure that out later because it's really not important. But what is important, you're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be very, very interesting. I have an unbelievably special, interesting guest today who drove all of 10 and a half minutes from his house to my house. Ladies and gentlemen, Rudy Sarzo. Excuse me. Sarzo. Rudy Sarzo. I'm messing up his mind. I'm just talking too fast, and I got my tongue stuck at the top of my teeth. Yeah. Okay, so now this is interesting. Cuba, huh?
That's right. Yeah.
He comes from Cuba. We gotta start there.
I came from Cuba a long time ago.
Well, I've always wanted to go to Cuba, and I haven't made it.
Yeah,
yet.
I left in '61. I was almost 11 years old, and I really want to go back there someday. Once it becomes a democracy.
Yeah.
Because it still is a communist, regime.
So did you start music back there?
I started listening to music. Okay. There's something about me, and sometimes I wrestle with it. Mm-hmm. It's that I've been a fan longer than I've been a professional musician. So when I'm really attracted to music, which sometimes gets in the way of my creativity. Because, when I write something, I get really critical, just as a fan would, rather than just, okay, this came out of me, I guess that's what happened. Yeah. And so I started listening to music at a very early age. As a matter of fact, in Havana, because, we used to live right in the middle center of Havana, and, we're talking about 1955, 56, and kids used to gather around cars. And the way that cars were made back in the day, everything was metal. So, so you have one kid shows up and go, like on a hubcap or something. Then another kid comes out and goes, king, 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 king. And before you know it, within the next 15 minutes, you got about 10 kids on a car. And nobody's really talking, but they're communicating through Latin rhythms, Wow. And I used to fall asleep to that sound. That was
embedded in you. It's just embedded.
Yeah, it is. Which, again, it's rooted. It's in my personal musical DNA. And transitioning from Latin music to rock and roll, I actually had to stop and really analyze what it actually meant to play rock and roll, because I was always swinging too much. I was like either in front, behind the beat, rather than on top of the beat. You play rock. It's basically that's what's rooted in rock and roll. Playing right on top of the beat.
Wow.
So it's, to me, music it's struggle between just being a fan and enjoying it. But then again, I'm a professional musician, so I have to really be in command of what I am doing as far as music goes, rather than just to surrender to it, which sometimes I do if I know the music really, really well. Right. I just get in really, really deep into it.
By the way, I'm with you on that. I'm a bigger groupie as I am the performer. And every time I'm on stage with a bunch of great musicians, I feel like the guy in the front seat paid $1,000 to be in the front seat, but I got a better seat. I'm on the stage while it's happening. I'm feeling it. Yeah. And not only that, I get interactive. It's like a computer. I can interact with the other guys in the band. So I feel like I got a wonderful seat here and a wonderful opportunity.
Did you pick that up when you started performing at a very early age, let's say?
Yeah, I was always excited to be on stage with the other guys.
And the other guys were probably older than you.
They were all older than me. I was the youngest guy on the stage. So to me, just playing with them, not only I had to study and get my part right, but I was excited sitting next to James Jamerson, watching him play the bass or something like that. I mean,
how was that? Tell me.
Every night I played with James Jamerson. I was 14 years old. And then on break time, where I go sit in his car and hang out with him. So see, for me, I was a bigger groupie as I was trying to be the musician, if not bigger. And it's always been like that for me.
How did it change your style of playing with Jamerson and
all
the
Giants?
Giants?
I was just sitting there, whatever they were doing, I was just trying to match it so I could fit in the groove and not stand out. Because when you're young, you can get kicked out really easy. So you want to sort of not stand out. You want to disappear in the, if nobody's saying anything to you, then you're doing above well. because everything is your fault at that age. If the guy hits a wrong note on the trumpet, they hit you up on the guitar. Whose fault was that? That's he did it.
Yeah.
You know? So it was like you had to play perfect, you know.
Interesting you said match, because he played a lot of counter rhythms too.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah.
So were you matching his?
Oh no, not match playing, just match at the level. You had to play at that level and it fit into the band where it worked. So it was a lot of fun. Yes.
Did you, like, let's say you were in the studio? So for how many hours were you guys in the studio?
Well, first of all, most of the time I played with him wasn't even in the studio. We had a job at night at a place called 20 Grand. And so we back all the Temptations, Glass Night and the Pips, Parliament. Before it was Funkadelic, it was a stand-up group, Parliament. And so we sat next to each other on the gig, playing every night, 9 to 2 in the morning. How about that?
How old were you?
I was 14.
14.
Yeah. I didn't even know who I was sitting with. I mean, you know, Robert White would come in sometimes while I was there. Michael Henderson would come play the bass sometimes. We were all working with Hamilton Bohannon and the Motown Orchestra. So it was Beans, Bowles, Marcus Belgraves, all of those guys, you know.
That's with you as being an instrumentalist, right?
Yeah.
What
and
about
then
vocals?
In the
What
studio,
about
vocals, I didn't know. I didn't do any vocals till I was in my 20s. I couldn't sing.
But who inspired you from the
to sing?
Yeah.
Oh, KC and the Sunshine Band.
You're kidding?
No, because KC, who I just saw a picture of him and Cher, and he's wearing a radio T-shirt, which I think is hysterical. He's wearing my band's T-shirt. KC, first of all, I knew I couldn't sing like Luther Vandross or Stevie Wonder, somebody. And I thought, well, you'll never be a star. But then I heard this song, Get Down Tonight, right? And that gave me all the confidence in the world. I said, I love this KC guy. He's the most talented, clever guy I've ever seen. He writes a song, do a little dance, do make a little love, honey, honey, me and you. Then every now and then, woo, 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 woo. You know, and I said, I got to write a song that's a hit with two notes in it. That's it. Stop trying to sing like Gladys Knight. It's never going to happen. So I just altered the music to make it work.
That is amazing. You know, I'm from Miami. You know, I grew up there.
Yeah.
So,
right,
you know, I mean,
to
me, KC and the Sunshine Band makes total sense. As a matter of fact, one of my best friends, it's Fermin Gotisolo, who is the percuntionist with the band. He was there from day one of the group. He's the only surviving member outside of KC, you know, in the group. And it's such that band, the music that they made is such a reflection, you know, of what was going on in Miami.
With the guitar, they had all that stuff. Now, my question for you is, so with all that rhythm and all that stuff going on, how you get to rock and roll? If you're in Miami, you come from Cuba, I know what you're listening to. Latin, you got the drums, you got rhythms, you got all that stuff going on. How do you discover rock and roll in the middle of Miami?
You know, coming from a communist country where the first thing that the revolution did was to take away anything that was American influence.
Oh, I see.
You know, so we had rock and roll. You know, we had artists like Fats Domino would go down there and perform, and we had Nat King Cole. Nat King Cole have you ever heard his record in Spanish?
No.
Oh, it's beautiful. Oh yeah, he was really popular.
Make sure I go listen to it.
Yeah, Nat King Cole singing in Spanish. And so, you know, we had a lot of American influence in our radio, you know, airplay. And then the revolution came in '59, and I went to Miami, and I thought the States, being, you know, during the Kennedy era, you know, there's a lot of democracy, you know, with such a contrast to living under a communist country, you know. And what happens is, communism comes in really quick and changes things really fast.
Oh yeah, just one guy said do it that way, and everything
in a very fast way. You know, it wasn't like it progressed and during took 10 years to
pass
get
10 bills.
No,
just tomorrow.
It was just like that. So even though we left in 1961, by 61 there were a lot of changes that were happening in the country. And so we arrive in the United States, and I'm like sensing this freedom, this democracy, you know, was going on, and everything was so wonderful. And then my family got relocated to New Jersey within a couple of years because there was too many Cubans were coming into the area, but there was not enough jobs.
Right.
So they were relocating, you know, whoever wanted to go to different parts of the United States, anywhere from Alaska to Chicago to New Jersey, which is where my parents wound up, you know.
Wow.
My family. And that was in 1963. So in 63, I just got into New Jersey. All of a sudden, Kennedy gets shot.
Right.
And it was, you know, I mean,
Huge thing.
Yeah, it was a huge funk that we were in, you know. And
what about all that Cuban Missile Crisis stuff? Were you going through?
Oh God, yeah. I was in Miami.
Yeah,
my family left between the Bay of Pig invasion. We were still down there, and then we arrived in Miami, and then that's when the missile crisis happened.
Wow. So you were already here.
Yeah, we were here, but we saw the mobilization of all the troops and everything, you know, going down from Miami to Key West.
Right.
You know, because they were ready to
get this on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank God that didn't happen.
Oh my God, that was. So in, you know, the air, the atmosphere after Kennedy got shot, it was, you know, it was around Thanksgiving, so all the holidays we were depressed.
Yeah,
and then there came in February this light of hope, the Beatles.
Yeah.
And it was
That's right. The Beatles invasion.
The British invasion, you know, and that to me spoke so strong about liberty and freedom and giving the youth voice. As a kid, I didn't have a voice until I started playing music or listening to music and relating to music from, you know, the Beatles and the British invasion and all of that. It gave the youth an identity, you know, and that's how I got into it.
Wow.
How
long did you stay in New Jersey?
Until 67, early 67. Then we moved back to Miami.
Went back to Miami.
Back to Miami. Actually, when
do you get to LA?
Oh, in
what happened between Miami and
70,
LA?
76. Yeah, and what happened was, I was playing, you know, in Miami, Fort Lauderdale area, you know, South Florida. There was a huge network of clubs that catered to tourists. So we were playing whatever was top 40, which could be Motown, it could be Hendrix, it could be Deep Purple, it could be Johnny Cash, whatever was on the radio. We played Paul Anka, You Having My Baby, you know, anything. You know, so we played that. So, you know, I got the, you know, all that musical influence.
Right.
I had to learn it.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic because it wasn't tribute bands. Nowadays we have tribute bands that just dedicate to one artist.
One artist, yeah.
Back then it was top 40.
Everything. Yeah.
You had to learn everything. You know, you had to learn, let's say, Slide in the Family Stone. Well, you better start, you know.
Yeah. Make it like that.
And
make it sound good, too.
Then
switch and go to Tom Jones or
listen,
somebody.
you know who, well, it wasn't even a competition, but the bass players around town, we're talking Jacko.
Right.
This Jacko, before Jacko joined the Weather Report. Yeah. You know, so you go, you know, we'll go to the Newport where he was playing with Wayne Cochran and CC Riders. And I go, you know, my jaw would drop. I'm going like, so, you know, go home and start woodshedding, you know, and the music on the radio, everything, you know. So it was, you had to up your game every single day.
Yeah, you do.
Because there was always some hotshot guy that came into town, and he was your competition, but also he was your inspiration, you know. And so by the time that I left Florida, because it turned overnight from playing top 40 to all of a sudden you had to play disco.
The late 70s, everything went disco.
And for me, it was fun because then all of a sudden, you know, all the great disco bass lines, you know, fine. But my brother, I was playing with my brother at the time, and he was a guitar player. So he went from trying to be Jimmy Page to all of a sudden, and the
wah, something else. That was interesting.
So
mid 70s, huh? So what brought you here?
Brought me to LA. Well, first we went back up to up north to New York, upstate New York, Utica area, and
cold up there.
Oh, very cold.
I love y'all in New York, but it's cold.
Yeah, very
from
cold.
Detroit.
Very
Snow.
Cold. Very cold. Very cold. So my brother got married. He settled down, and I said, "Well, I'm going to keep going."
Yeah. I'm settling down. I'm going to move. Yeah.
I'm going to move on. I had 2 suitcases and 1 bass, and got on a train. Went up to Chicago. Met some guys. Wound up in Omaha, Lincoln, Nebraska area. and we put a band together. And
In Lincoln, Nebraska?
Lincoln, Nebraska, yeah.
In Lincoln, Nebraska?
Lincoln, Nebraska.
You found musicians?
Yes. It's a journey.
Oh, yeah.
It's a journey. And we're still really, we're still good friends. He's Bobby.
Yeah.
He's
That's
he's
interesting,
out
yeah.
here. And which actually there is a sidebar. Bob Marlette, the guy that I was in New Jersey, in Lincoln, Nebraska, right? He marries this lady, Lisa, who happens to record he happens to be in a band called No Small Children.
Oh, I remember that,
Who recorded
Ghostbuster.
Ghostbuster.
Exactly.
So there's a little sidebar in there. Okay. Okay. So going back to that, so we went up and, we just, we decided we had enough of trying to make it in the Midwest circuit because we wanted to be recording artists.
Right.
And so we said, okay, screw this. Let's get the U-Haul. Let's get your dad's car, station wagon, and go to LA.
Right.
And we wound up here. And basically when I arrived here, I burned the ships. There was no turning back.
No turning back.
There was no plan B.
Right.
Because if there would have been a plan B, I would have not wound up sleeping on the floor.
Every college or school I talked to, and the parents asked me to speak, right? They said, let them know that you want to go. I said, that ain't what I'm going to say. I said, if you either want me to talk to the students or not. And I say, the first thing I tell them is, plan B, burn it.
Yeah.
I said, every great warrior in the world, every great anything, anybody that has plan B, something to fall back on. I said, first of all, I don't like any of those words. I don't like back. I don't like fall. It's two negative things. And I've never seen anybody who had something to fall back on who didn't fall back on it.
Yeah, exactly.
I said, the first thing we do is burn plan B.
That's
and
right.
we commit ourselves 100% to plan A.
Yeah.
And they say, well, what if that doesn't happen? It just doesn't happen then.
Yeah.
Okay, it doesn't happen, but we're going that way and that way only.
Yeah.
And I said, if you're not ready to do that, you're not ready to be a musician for sure. Because it just ain't that type of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what was your journey like that? I mean, how do you...
My journey is very similar to yours, only mine comes from Detroit. I did all the stuff in Detroit, and I came out here at 18 years old, 1973. So 1973, I got in my car, and I said, that's enough for all this stuff. I was playing with Stevie Wonder at the time. I quit the band and just got in my car and pointed it west and just drove nonstop. Right? I had so much stuff in the car. I couldn't park and go in a hotel and sleep because I figured somebody going to steal the stuff out of my car. Because in Detroit, you get robbed, right? So I said, nonstop, no sleep, drive to the coast, and I'll call my parents collect when I get there. That was my thing. I said, I'll call you when I see the Pacific Ocean. And that's just what I did.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to...
A little over 2 days drive time, yeah.
I know, but to get a gig and to get acclimated and
I actually
network...
had one gig.
Oh, you did?
And so when I got here, there's a guy, Lamont Dozier, Dozier Holland. I'm sure you've heard of them, right? The songwriters. Mm-hmm. There's a very famous songwriting team called Dozier Holland.
Oh, God, yeah.
And they did a lot of work in Detroit, the Supremes and Four Tops and Sugar Pie. Those guys. Yeah. Well, Lamont Dozier was cutting an album in California. Mm-hmm. And so I got the phone call. By coincidence, I was leaving Detroit anyway. They said, look, we can't promise you the world, but we can promise you one album if you'll come out to California. And I didn't tell him I was coming. I was just, let me shut up and listen, And he said, if you come to California, you can stay at Lamont's house, right? Lamont Dozier's house. And he cooks good, so we'll eat you and we'll do one album. And I was like, oh, that's just what I want. I was on my way out anyway. Now I don't have to worry about a place to stay. I got time to find an apartment and all that kind of stuff. So that brought me out of here.
Was that a production deal or
no, just me playing the guitar.
Oh, playing guitar.
Yeah, just playing guitar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't know about no production. I'm 18 years old. I didn't know, I know about anything.
No, I thought maybe you got signed and you were singing and writing your own music.
I wasn't singing yet. Are you kidding me? I wasn't singing for let me tell you my singing career. It's really funny. When radio started, we cut Jack and Jill. That was a gold album. We cut Can't Change That on the next gold album. Then we had two places at the same time on the next gold album. And then the fourth gold album was called A Woman Needs Love. That's the first time I ever sang a song all the way through. It was on the fourth gold album. And people marveled. They're like, what? What's going on others? I said, well, the first record, you don't hear me at all, right? Because I just sang a little bit, a little voice in the chorus, but I had 16 voices around me. The second and third record, you hear me sing pieces of verses. I mean, I'm playing with it. I'm figuring out how to get my voice right. But I got the other two guys carrying the leads and all the other stuff. And the fourth album is when I actually tried to sing a song all the way through. I was 25, 26 singing my first song.
Jack and Jill, that's a very smooth vocal delivery.
Yeah, but that's not me singing most of the song. That's Arnell and Jerry. Jerry sang the first. I was a very smart guy. Visually, I'm saying, what is it going to look like on stage? I said, okay. I got Jerry sings the Jack part of that. Then I got Arnell comes in with the higher voice. Then the chorus comes in with all those voices, right? Yeah. I'm in there somewhere. So I'm singing a little melody in there with all the other voices,
Wow.
And so my whole life was based on playing the guitar. You based on the bass, I'm based on playing the guitar. Even today, when somebody asks me, well, what is it you do? I immediately go, I play the guitar. Because I see myself as a guitar. And then my wife would say, well, he's being modest. He did this. I can't identify with that. I identify, everything in my life comes from me playing the guitar. Yeah,
nothing gives me joy. I mean, in my life with what I do, like playing the bass.
Yeah, playing the guitar.
Yeah. And I've come to the conclusion that I'm never going to become the musician that I envisioned that I could be, because I find it to be such a journey.
Yeah.
Because I'm afraid, like, if I ever arrive there, then what?
Then what? Exactly.
Yeah. So I keep pushing myself every single day to go further, but I know there's more territory.
Yeah, there's more to go. Yeah.
And I go online and watch YouTube videos. Some tutorial and some of like people, like the musicians, bass players from all over the world, exposing themselves, to the masses, to a global audience, and it's just amazing what's out there.
Some people that take the bass or the guitar and do some things you ain't even thought about doing them. It's like I never thought about hitting it like that or making it do that. I didn't even think about that.
I know. It's just and I hate to use the word, genre, let's say female, male. Because to me, as a musician, it's
just music,
but there's a new crop of, at least female musicians that are getting exposure that just bring a certain beauty and sensitivity to music that guys really don't have. Yeah. Because we tend to be too aggressive. And the women have this elegance and beauty, that I'm just like blown away. Yeah. Completely blown away.
I've always thought that the women had better lyrics because they're singing more sensitivity, where the guys are out trying to play the next guy on the record, and nobody really cares about that. The public's like, what's he talking about? And so the girls would always address the story and what this is about, and from the heart and all the other stuff. So they always had that going on. Yeah. So now we're talking about the late 70s and the 80s. Yeah. Was that period like? Okay.
I'm really enjoying this conversation.
Yeah, I know. This is fun. I've
been listening to you all these years, and now I realize that I've been listening to you and not really being aware that you are the guitar player on all these great records.
And not only that, but we spoke. Remember I told you one time Spencer Proffer was over my house?
Yeah.
I was the guitar player for Spencer Proffer and Denny Deontay on all their records.
You're kidding.
No. All their records that they cut in the 70s, I'm playing guitar on all that stuff. And I think I did Paul Anka with them too.
You have him, my baby.
I'm playing on the Paul Anka records.
Oh my God, yeah.
So that's where I know Spencer from. Yeah. I was his guitar player.
He was our producer and label owner for My Right Mental Health record. Yeah.
And when that record blew up, the Mental Health album, it was Spencer's birthday. They had a big party at my house. So I had a big party for Spencer. And man, this stuff, you're talking about rock and roll. He must have thought he was on the road. People were getting high. I mean, the coke guy was in my bathtub with girls naked, and all this stuff was coming on. And I lived in Beverly Hills with a view property where you could see the city. And everything was bigger glass. There was floor to ceiling glass all around the exterior of the house. So if you're inside the house, everywhere you look, you could just see outside and see nature and all that stuff. And Spencer, man, he was high as a kite. And I'll never forget it. He was walking fast, and he walked right into one of those big panes of glass and broke it with his head. He was bleeding. God. And no matter how much music we were playing, the party stopped. For some reason, he went, and when he crashed into the thing full speed, he stopped, right? And this thing was as high as this. and there was a piece of glass dangling like this, like in the movies, just like in the movies. And he was standing there, and we were like, "Don't move, just stop." And you could see his smashed his head, he was bleeding. He just stood there. He was high as a kite. And let me tell you, this guillotine, I'm gonna call it a guillotine.
Yeah.
It went down, sliced his shirt here, just missed the family jewels, and went down, cut part of his knee, and hit the ground. And everybody was like, just mouths open. Nobody said a word, just mouths open. And when he turned around, he had a line, just like in a movie.
Yeah,
he had a line that went straight down here. And when they got to here, it just went this way. And we all went, oh
my God.
And that really happened. You know.
Now that's a party.
That was a party. I said, you guys are way out of control. Way out of control. And that was it. He
I don't think I was there. We were probably on the road when that happened because I would have definitely remembered that.
Oh, you'd remember this part. Yeah. Because they were I had a bedroom with this huge tub and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And the coke guy, by the way, I didn't even do drugs, right? So, and I'm like, what are y'all doing in here? Man, they had already possessed my house. It was too late to turn it on. They were the coke guy, who was an ugly dude. He wasn't even that cute. He's in the bathtub with the most beautiful girl I've ever seen in my life. I'm just standing there looking at the girl like, holy, I want to complain of what y'all doing, but look at her. Yeah. My gosh, she was cut. Yeah. And she's riding him in front of like 20 of us. Yeah. She don't even care. Yeah. And I'm saying, what's up with this guy? How did he get her? He said, "Oh, he's the coke guy. Yeah, he's got the coke. He told her to hop on. That was the end of that. He's the coke guy." I'm like, man, what perks does this guy get? But she was just gorgeous, and she didn't care who was watching, and just didn't care. It was just going on, So, yeah, how funny is those?
She might be watching this on Facebook right now.
Come on, baby. Yeah, well, she's 30 years older now.
Yeah, I know.
It looks like the rest.
Oh my God! So you were also recording in Pasha Studios?
Yeah.
On Melrose?
Yeah.
How did you do that? That was such a tiny little.
I know. Yeah, but we
did
stuff there. Yeah, we did stuff there too. And I remember they used to rent the Sound Factory and some of the studios in Hollywood. Yeah. Most of the stuff we go to.
Yeah. Did you go to Astro Burger next door?
They were going to. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, exactly. But they were producing Maxine Nightingale. Yeah, they did a hit on Maxine Nightingale, and I did a song. And because I put together the background vocals and I put together the band and the groove, they put my song on the B-side. So when Maxine Nightingale had that million seller, it was my song on the B-side. Yeah. And back in those days, you got just as much money for the B-side as the guy got for the A-side. Yeah. So that was a nice little perk. I think Denny did that. He threw me that bone. Wow. It was a good bone, too.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so we all go back.
So I noticed you have all, 20-something guitars here.
Because I'm a guitar player. This is my dedication.
I know, but my question
is... Look at these guitars. Yeah, some of these are pretty special.
Any one that you could say, okay, I played this one on a certain record.
Yes. The one that you're going to be interested in was the obvious one. You see that Yamaha right there is red? And at the top it says Ray Parker Jr.
Yeah.
Well, Yamaha made 2 guitars like that. For me, it was going to be my model edition. I don't know what happened to it. But that's the actual guitar I played on Ghostbusters and The Other Woman. So
really?
It's got that fat sound. That's the actual guitar. Played in the video and played on the record. Yeah.
Wow.
My guitar. This guitar here, the black one, Stevie Wonder gave me on tour when I was 18. So this is the one I use in the studio most of the time.
What year is that?
I'm going to say 71.
71.
Yeah, I bought it in 72, but it probably was already in the store. So I'm going to say it's a 71 guitar. And so I've had that all the time. And that's when I'm in a lot of recording sessions. You'll see me with that. This purple guitar, or burgundy guitar, Phil Upchurch gave me that one. That's a really, really nice D'Angelico, which he signed the neck.
So it's an original D'Angelico, not a reissue.
No, that's one of the originals. Yeah, it's got all. If you look at the pearl inlay, you see all the nice stuff on it. And this guitar here is most special. This is an actual GB20, and that's George Benson's guitar he used on the last record. Yeah, the last record he did.
His actual guitar.
This is the same guitar he used on Conqueror, and he signed it for me too.
Wow.
And then we got this guitar over here is a 52 Les Paul. No serial numbers. The first year they built it, mint shape. But probably the most precious guitar here is that top from the left. Second from the left top is what I'm trying to say. I feel like I've been drinking too much.
Yeah. The Strat.
That's a 56 Strat. And I got a picture of the guy who owned it from Oklahoma or Kansas somewhere. And I've owned it since mid 80s, right? And I've never taken it out the house yet. I got the original case, the strap, and a picture of the guy who first played it.
So you basically kept all the instruments that you ever owned, basically, right?
I wish. Some of them got stolen. I had a red 335 that my dad bought me that I used on the Stones tour and all that stuff.
Stones tour? Wait a minute. Stones tour?
Yeah, I did
with
the Stones
Stevie.
tour. Yeah, with 72.
With Stevie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But we did a lot of recording with the Stones, so we hung out with them all the time.
Such as? This is incredible.
I don't remember the songs, but I should. But at the time, I didn't care about it. I was so busy going. But every night, there's plenty of footage of us. We'd always play 2 or 3 songs together at the end of the night. So you see all of us, me and Mick Taylor standing together, and Keith Richards, and you see a little skinny guy holding a red guitar. That'd be me with a big afro every night.
Was it the same tour Cracker was on?
No, it was just us, just Stevie and the Rolling Stones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we'd always do an encore every night where we'd all come out and play a couple of songs together. You know,
wow.
Uptight and Satisfaction or something like that. You know, so it was a lot of fun.
Wow. And bass.
Yeah, that bass. I bought that. I just
did you
wanted
play
a bass
on?
I didn't even play bass, but I just wanted a bass. I'm playing bass on all my records, by the way. I'm playing bass on some Diana Ross records.
Really?
There's actually a few good records I was playing the bass on. But I just bought it for me at home because I wanted a bass. You know, I'm like the guitar player and said, well, I want a bass. And
of course.
Back in Detroit, I got that bass. I'm pretty sure it was like $280 or something at the time. And who knows what it's worth now. But, you know, that's back in like 1970. I was a teenager, you know. Wow. I got the Fender Precision bass because James Jamerson played the Fender Precision. Yeah, so that's the one I was going to buy. Is where he was playing. And his looked just like that. Yeah, had the tortoise shell and is that color and everything. You know,
that's incredible. Hey, so the Diana Ross records that you play bass on.
Yeah, I can't remember the names though. The ones I played guitar on. I mean, I did Mahogany and.
You did?
Yeah. And Lady Sings the Blues. Yeah, but those songs that they had going on there. It's a bunch of those and. Had Love Hangover and a whole bunch of Diana Ross records. In fact, she would fly me, just me and her would fly first class to New York and pick up a band and cut at Electric Ladyland. So me and her would just hang out together a lot, you know. Then I ended up producing a couple of songs for her. They didn't take off. Me and Dan, the guy Steely Dan. Oh boy, what's his name?
Jeff Skunk Baxter or
no,
the guitar player or
no, the lead singer.
Oh, Donald Fagen?
Donald Fagen, yeah. Me and Donald Fagen produced the album on Diana Ross. Wow. Well, he did some of the songs, I did some of the songs. So I was with her a lot, you know.
Wow. Did you get to work with Niles Rodgers? Or when he
never. I know Niles, but I never actually worked with him. Mm-hmm. But I love Niles Rodgers. He did the best records on everybody, you know. Yeah. So, yeah. But that's interesting. You know.
Wow. That's incredible.
A lot of history and stuff.
I mean, just the story alone, I mean, that you were telling me that you wrote at 18.
Yeah.
For Shaka Khan.
Shaka Khan, yeah, You Got the Love. And Stevie stepped on me and got in front of me and put, tell me something good, so that would come out first. Because I was going to have the first single. Yeah. And I'm not crying about it. He had the first single, blew up, so maybe it helped my single blow up, you know. So all's well that ends well. You know, it was on the same album. Yeah. So I had that. But at the same time, I had a hit on Patti LaBelle's Joy to Have Your Love, and I had a song on Barry White. You See the Trouble with Me. We sold like 6-7 million of those on Barry White. That was a huge record. I mean, I wrote half the song and he wrote the other half of the song, you know. And that was pretty impressive at the time because he was one of those guys that said, nobody gets a song on Barry White. Nobody writes on Barry White. I write everything myself, you know. And I kind of smashed up his car. And while I smashed up his car, he was yelling and screaming at me and said, yeah, but listen to this. You know, I mean, somehow, I don't know how I pulled that one off because I thought he was going to sit on me. But somehow I pulled it off and he ended up recording my song, you know, and writing the lyrics to it. And, you know, it's unbelievable. You know.
How did you navigate the transition from R&B, Motown, Detroit R&B to shortly after disco?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I don't think I ever embraced disco because Jack and Jill came out at the disco time. And Jack and Jill was more of just, dun, dun. Well, I guess you could say it maybe slightly as a slow disco, you know. Mm-hmm. And it can't change that with you're the only one I love, and you can't change that. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty different. So I just didn't really address disco that much. Mm-hmm. I sort of missed some of that. You know.
Because, I mean, as I recall, you know, Radio was one of the few bands that were actually not necessarily a disco band. No, it was more R&B.
Yeah, R&B and top 40, yeah. All our records went top 10, on the top 40 charts.
Did you guys have to, like, wrestle with the record companies that might want to turn you guys into a
Clive
disco?
liked the song. He didn't never. No. Once I got a hit, he just let me do whatever I wanted to do. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, it sure was. I never had to deal with yet where somebody start telling me how to cut my music, you know.
Yeah.
So that part I feel very special about.
I mean, I've worked with certain producers that I call them reducers because
Yeah,
you become reducers.
But we got to ask you all the obvious question. What about so who came first, Ozzy Osbourne or the band?
Quiet Riot?
Quiet Riot.
Oh, that's a really good question. There's two known versions of Quiet Riot. There's the what's called the Randy Rhoads version, which that was the 70s. You know,
he was actually in Quiet Riot too?
Yeah, he's a founding member of Quiet
I didn't
Riot.
know that. Okay.
Yeah, Randy, yeah. And so I joined the band Quiet Riot with Randy Rhoads in 78. And that's when punk and new wave came in. That's why I asked you about navigating
right.
you know, disco and R&B,
Yeah.
you know, because to rock, punk and new wave was kind of like what made record companies stay away from rock and go more towards the new wave and the punk, you know.
Right.
And we were like, you know, in our early 20s, they were calling us dinosaurs locally. the you know, record industry, you know, trying to get a record
Young
deal.
kids, and they go, oh, they old. They're
This ain't coming back.
ain't coming back.
Yeah. And meanwhile, there was a huge revolution. You know, the metal, the new wave of metal coming from England, Saxon and Motorhead and Def Leppard and a bunch of bands, like, you know, Iron Maiden, whatever. And so Randy leaves Quiet Riot, that version, in 79 to join Ozzy Osbourne in England. And by 81, they had recorded 2 albums already. One was in the can, and they were promoting The Blizzard of Oz, which was the first record released as Ozzy Osbourne, Blizzard of Oz. And so Tommy Aldridge and I become the new rhythm section in 81, I'm sorry, for the Blizzard of Oz record, in 1981. And I joined the band because Randy recommended me. Because unlike you, who arrived in LA already being Stevie Wonder's guitar player, I was the guy known as the guy that sleeps on the floor. That was my resume. Yeah, he's got really good posture because he sleeps on the floor. And that was it. And it was because Randy, you know, told Ozzy and Sharon, hey, listen, you know, Rudy's the guy you're looking for. He's not going to be a bad influence on Ozzy.
Right.
He, you know, he doesn't party. He's going to learn the songs, you know.
Fit in and make it work.
Yeah. So they trusted Randy, and Randy trusted me. We had 10 days to go into production, you know, pre-production for the tour and hit the road.
Right.
Yeah, so they needed somebody quickly, you know. So that's how I got the gig. Then Randy Rhoads died in a plane crash.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah.
I saw that on the film.
Man,
you talked about it. It looked like you were going to cry right on the film.
Man, it was, you know, it was something that, you know, you try to survive emotionally that traumatic experience. We didn't have time to mourn, you know, because we were back on the road within a week.
Put you right back out.
You know, back out again. Sharon needed to keep Ozzy occupied because he would have drank himself to death.
Oh,
you know,
goodness.
And so I left Ozzy because it was painful to continue, you know, without Randy, you know, my dear friend and the guy responsible for me getting the break and everything, you know, and it was heartbreaking, you know, and the band was never the same. It was never the same. You know, you have this significant ingredient removed, and it's just like it doesn't sound the same, doesn't feel the same. You know, this. So I left Ozzy to join the new rebranded Quiet Riot with a.
And what hurts me is Randy Rhoads never got to see Quiet Riot take off.
I know, but you know, I believe that
he's watching down.
Yeah, spirits, energy, you know, it's all, you know, and I also believe that he had a part on the success of the band, you know, and you know, so I gotta tell you, it was kind of like the reason why the mental health version of Quiet Riot got signed, and you knowing Spencer, you probably can relate to this, is that he had a song in mind. Come and feel the noise.
Yeah.
And it was just it was a matter of finding the singer that could actually record that song.
Right.
You know, and that was a deal breaker with the band. It was like, if you guys don't record the song, we don't have a record.
Yeah, we don't have nothing. Yeah.
So, and it was done on spec time at Pasha.
Okay.
I went in my first trip to the studio with that version of Quiet Riot. I was still in the band, Ozzy Osbourne, right? And we were on a break in LA. And I get a phone call from Kevin. He says, listen, we're going to record a song called Thunderbird. That I because before I joined Ozzy, I was playing with Kevin in his own band called Dubrow. So there was a lot of songs that wound up on Mental Health under the brand Quiet Riot. They were actually written, and we used to play that while in Dubrow in his band before I joined Ozzy. So I go, I would love to. That's the least I can do. As a tribute to Randy. There was no record deal in place yet. It was kind of like Spencer was putting together some songs to take either to Capitol or to CBS, Columbia, and so I go in and I cut Thunderbird, a couple of takes, and Spencer goes, well, do you remember any of the other songs? Slick Black Cadillac and a few others that I used to do in Dubrow. And I go, just give me a couple of passes so we can, get back and remember the song. So we did that. And by the time I left that session, I had recorded like half the record already. But I was still a member of Ozzy.
Right.
But there was something about playing with Kevin and Frankie and Carlos that it was an emotional refuge for me to be able to get out of a very emotionally draining situation. It was like a new beginning.
Right.
And so I decided to leave one of the biggest bands in the world for like the total unknown. But I was happy. I was happy. It was like I had there was no plan B.
Exactly.
No choice. I'm doing this because my happiness is more important than anything else.
Well, the joy of making music. Because that Quiet Riot, when it came out, that song was just unbelievable. I mean, when you heard that song on the radio, you saw the video, and the guy turned the speaker up.
Come and feel the noise.
Oh my gosh!
Well,
it sounded to me, it just sounded like an immediate smash.
Well, this is what happened. The rhythm track, the drums, they were actually recorded during that session. But I didn't record the first bass on it. It was Tony Cavasso, who was not on the record, but he was Carlos Cavasso's brother. And they needed to cut that song. And basically, Kevin and Frankie were trying to sabotage the recording of that track. So Frankie goes to Kevin, listen, I'm going to play really, really bad.
Right.
But you play with many great musicians, and even if a great musician tries to be bad,
it's still good.
It's still good.
It's okay. The public's like, oh yeah, I'm grooving with that.
I'm cool.
I'm cool with
so Frankie goes, and that's why it sounds so like if you wind up like a little bear that plays drums.
Right. Yeah, play the drums.
Doom ba, that beat, and it worked.
Yeah.
He just simplified his playing, made it what in his head was boring.
That's right.
Yeah. And Spencer goes, okay, one take, we got it.
We're done,
and so, like a couple of weeks later, I came back, and this is the things, prior to any YouTube.
Yeah.
So I'm playing this song that I never heard before. Right. Come and Feel the Noise by a band called Slade. It was a cover, So I go, okay, I think I'm going to...
Whoa, stop right there. That song was a cover song?
It's a cover song.
What?
Yeah,
I thought y'all were the first ones to do it. So Okay, that's even more interesting. So you telling me Spencer probably found the song, right?
Yeah, remember I told you
That's
he had the
hysterical.
song,
Yeah.
but he was trying to match a singer.
Oh,
and
I thought you meant he had the song because y'all had done it, y'all wrote it, or
Oh, no,
you mean
no.
he just found the song?
no.
Oh my
he
gosh,
found the
well, it
song.
looked like it belonged to y'all when y'all got done doing it.
Yeah.
However that worked,
Yeah, I mean, and without that song, Quiet Riot, I mean, we won't be having this conversation.
Exactly. Let me tell you something, Spencer. I'm gonna give him more credit because that was a heck of a song and a heck of a delivery by y'all. And I'll never forget, he bought a house on Coldwater Canyon up near me. And so he came up the street to my house, and that's how we started hanging out. I saw him at the store or something. I hadn't seen him in years since I was his guitar player. You know, and some other stuff. But yeah, that was pretty interesting. He was dating, was it Judy Green? Is that Judy Green? Judy Green?
Was that the house that Roseanne rented out from him? Roseanne?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
But he always had the girlfriend that worked for Azov. It was Judy Green, short girl. They broke up one time. He was limping around. He had a leg
Carol
broken.
Peters?
No,
Carol?
No, Judy
Carol
Green.
worked at
Something
Pasha.
Green.
Yeah.
Something Green. They broke up.
Oh,
Maybe they broke
Trudy Green.
Trudy Green. That's it.
Yeah,
Trudy
she managed
Green.
us in Whitesnake.
Yeah, Trudy Green. That's
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say. Trudy Green, right? Now, see, I forgot about Whitesnake, too.
Yeah.
This guy, see, you're like me.
Yeah,
All these
because you
different
mentioned
tricks.
Azov, and that was
exactly. Trudy Green. Well,
that
was his girlfriend for a long time.
Oh, I know,
you know?
yeah.
And when y'all did Whitesnake, see, that's when I went to Geffen. So I was on Geffen Records while the first big album was out. You know, I was at Geffen Records, and the strangest thing happened. We got my first album out. We went gold in England, but they didn't do enough here. And Al Corey was promoting the records, and he thought I was white or something. I didn't have to go up the R&B chart and cross over. I said, "Can we just go like Clive did? Let's go up the R&B chart first, cross over, and then you go up the pop chart." So he said, "No, it was Ray Parker Jr. We could do it all at one time." So he did it all at one time. We stalled going up the pop chart because we didn't have the support from the R&B charts, which you had to do if you were black at that time. You know, it's different. Now you just put the record out.
Yeah.
But in those days, if you didn't have the support of the R&B stations, the pop stations wouldn't play it. They don't care what it sounded like.
Really?
So he came out with all these big stations, and he got the stations, but they was out of sync. So it made my record go top number 2 R&B, and then it stalled on the pop charts in like the 20s or 30s or something. We didn't go all the way for the first time. Didn't go all the way.
How many records did you do with Geffen?
That's the interesting part. So David Geffen comes to me after that record, and he says, "I don't want to be in the record business no more. I'm selling the company." And they sent me to MCA. But the good news was he said, "Look, if you'll just not cause any trouble and go to MCA, you can keep the millions of dollars I gave you. You don't have to pay it back." I thought that was most kind.
Yeah.
You know how you have to pay back the advance and all that stuff?
Yeah,
He says,
yeah.
keep the budget, keep the advance. I said, okay. You know.
Wow.
And I kept my
Very
same
generous.
deal, and I went to MCA.
Yeah. What year was that?
That was 87, I'm going to say.
87. So was Azov running MCA at the time?
No, it was, Gerald Busby had just left. And who came after that? I can't think of who came after that. Gerald Busby had just left. Mm-hmm. And who did I sign with? The guy who I did the song with, you know, it's funny, the guy who I signed with was Denny and Spencer's friend who was running UA at the time. We were doing other records, and I did him the favor of putting together the record. Mm-hmm. And I'm drawing a blank because I'm getting old here. I can't think of his name. But that's who signed me. It went all the way back to Denny Deontay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm think of his name as we talking. I'll think
it's a small town.
Yeah, this is some old stuff. Yeah, that's right, man. Small town. Yeah,
and
that's
I was watching on Netflix a John Coltrane documentary.
Yeah,
beautiful documentary. And at the end, credits produced by Spencer Proffer.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, what a small world. Yeah, but Trudy Green. That was
Trudy
Green. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Small world, man.
Yeah.
You know, what have you been up to since Hired Gun? I mean, Hired Gun, by the way, seems to be a landmark, monumental event for us. We had no idea when we did it was going to be this, but it's a part of history now.
Hired Gun was such a magnificent piece of cinematography. By that I mean not just the way it was shot, the way it was edited, but just everything, all the interviews, you know. And I'm going to say this not because Fran is in the room, Fran Strine, the director, but he did a great job because, you know, it's okay. I got the call to do documentary, and we meet and we set up a little environment, with the cameras. But it was the ability for a director to actually, because it's not scripted,
Right.
to take you down a certain road, just like I'm sure he did with you, and to get certain things out of you that when you first sat down, you weren't even thinking about
Right,
that.
yeah. To get it. Yeah.
To get it, yeah.
Get it.
Yeah, get it. And it was, without that direction, it would have just been something else.
Right.
And to be able to do that with every single person that is being interviewed, that's an art in itself. So after I did that interview, and actually, it takes, people think, oh, you're doing a documentary, it's probably going to come out, in a couple of months. It took 3 years, at least, or more.
I feel the same way you do. Is that special thing? That's why I'm hiring him. I'm not hiring him, but that's why we're doing the Who You Gonna Call movie together, because he's the guy to do it, and he thinks I'm the guy to do it about. So we're getting married here, sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah. No funny business on TMZ. Don't y'all start no mess. It won't be none. But I think it's the perfect marriage to make that film. We're gonna have a good time because I think he delivers it and has that sensitivity and feel. Yeah. And we're gonna make it funny, horrifying, all of the above, with the music as the backdrop and all of the interesting things that it took to get here. And hopefully people look at it and go, I had no idea he had any of that going on. I just remember Who You Gonna Call, which is what I'm known for. It's a good thing.
I gotta tell you that one of the most rewarding things to come out of me doing the interview is to actually get on social media messages from fans who have actually watched the documentary and have been moved and again, people that might have had a career going down their own path on the career, all of a sudden say, hey man, I gotta, thanks to watching, not only you but these other guys in the on Hired Gun, I've been able to get my vision straight back and focus again.
Yeah. And I hope this show does that for people too, because when you're sitting at home and you're a musician by yourself, you're saying, well, am I the only one who didn't do this? Am I the only one in the world who feels this way about the band? Or and so when they hear the different stories from other people who've done it and who've lived it, it's sort of it gives them something to guide their life on, something to go by.
Absolutely. It's paying it back, given the same way that I'm sure you have mentors.
Big time.
How did Stevie Wonder mentor you?
There's before Stevie and after Stevie, and before Stevie I was just a guitar player trying to do the best I could. After Stevie, he actually took me in the record plant and paid for the studio time, taught me how to write songs. I mean, took a couple of little demos I had, arranged them for me, put all the parts on for me, sang duets along with me. Okay. So he's giving me all that encouragement while he just won 8 Grammys that year, just had the biggest album of the year. And actually just showed me different ways to financially take care of myself. I had no clue as to what I was doing until I actually saw him and said, well, wait a minute, he writes the songs, he's publishing the song. What's publishing? I learned about that, and he's got the deal, he's doing this. And so I really learned a lot of that initial stuff from him, as well as he put a bunch of my friends in the band just on my say-so. I'm probably responsible for 12 people getting in this band, over the years. His band leader today is my best friend, Nathan Watts. He's been there 44 years. And he's still there, the bass player. So to me, he represents me leaving Detroit or getting us out of Detroit, because I went on a big tour with him, me writing songs or me having enough ego to go deliver something to people without feeling bad about myself. Because to me, Stevie Wonder was like Mozart of the 20th century. So if he put his hand on you and said, I'm going to work with you on a song, I ain't hearing what anybody else got to say. When they tell me I ain't good enough, I ain't hearing that. Stevie Wonder said I could do it. I ain't listening to y'all no more.
Yeah, of course.
So he gave me the confidence to do it, and the rest of the stuff. And it's just that kind of magic. Well, we're talking about Hired Gun. I mean, I've gotten more recognition since Hired Gun. People see me, and I wasn't in it as long as you are, but people see that shot, which I thought wasn't the best shot on me because I had just come from Japan. I was sleepy. To me, I look at the screens like, I say, oh my gosh, if I had 7 more hours, I could have really put on a show here, But how's your life changed, if it's at all?
It changed, it added a whole different layer of, like we were talking about mentorship by, whether you do it on a documentary where you do it one-on-one, with somebody sitting in a room, to me, it's the outcome of that mentorship that really matters, and I've gotten a lot of messages on social media or people coming up to me and saying, "Hey, man, I really appreciate what you said on the documentary, and it's really helping me to get back on the right journey, of my career, my life in general." Because we are blessed that our art is part our
Big
career.
time blessed, yeah.
It's this. There's so many fruits from that labor, that we can actually share with our family and loved ones and and everybody.
Well, let me tell you, in particular, your interview on that thing, you became like a guy who took his clothes off spiritually, or you were just, it was so emotionally moving.
Yeah.
That's the part of the movie where everybody's just like hanging with their mouth off. It ended up, I know you didn't have to try to, it just ended up like that, because that's just what was going on at the time.
I try to live my day in a state of gratefulness.
Yes. Being
grateful for everything, and that gave me an opportunity to because Fran saw me going, that I had that in me, so he brought it out, Fran, the director, and it's really interesting because you do the interview, then maybe a couple of years later you actually watch it on screen, and it's like, I was
moved by yourself.
I was moved by
yourself.
myself.
I love it. Yeah.
Because it was like, wow, because you are in that state, and it's been captured on camera and all of that. But to have the opportunity to do that, to me that was such a great for me to be able to do that, because people have been wonderful to me during my career. I mean, you mentioned about you coming to LA, and you already had certain, you had a place to stay, and you had a session to do and a record to do and all that. I just showed up.
Here I am.
I am here. Went to the Rainbow Bar and Grill, and that was our Facebook at the time, and social networking, and by the grace of these wonderful females, with cats. A lot of them had cats. With cats. And I happen to be allergic to cats. That's why I brought it up.
Of course, that's part of the deal.
And it was like, I'm either going to have a sofa or share a bed to sleep in, and I'm going to be sneezing a lot in the middle of the night with a runny nose. So, I mean, by the grace of these wonderful ladies, I was able to survive in LA, until I got my compass and
Rainbow Bar,
and
it'd be interesting. I mean, no one's ever done it before, but think about this concept for a film. You take all of the musicians, all the folks, and you go back to the mid '70s, and you show us walking around, but I don't know who you are. You don't know who I am. Maybe I'm sitting at the bar having a drink. Hey, man, what's happening? Oh, nothing, man. I'm going over here. Oh, yeah, me too. I'm going over here. I think I need to have a drink. What about that girl over there? Oh, that's so-and-so. Well, we don't know that yet, because she ain't nobody yet.
Oh, yeah.
And I bet you we were all at the gas station at the same time, at the bar at the same time.
I recall running into you at a rehearsal place next to a Army Navy surplus on Santa Monica, Vine. There was upstairs, there was like a rehearsal recording place, and I was in a band called Private Army at the time, and I recall running into you. And I go, hey, it's a guy from radio.
The guy from radio.
And so we do run into each other, But do you ever talk to your 16-year-old self?
Yeah, way too much. I find myself talking to myself probably way too much.
But that kid in particular that envisioned this, that had
because I have to
courage.
go back to him all the time to do the things I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Because when you get older, it's just too much negativity going on. Or too much knowledge, too much whatever. Like I find myself working on a song, and you start talking about, well, that might not fit in today's world. I might find, well, that work trying to be like, in the old days, I just played a part. I ain't worried about if the notes are half a step off. What do you mean? It's one's major, minor. No, you can put them together if you want to. See, I didn't have any of that. If it felt good, I just did it. And I did it fast. I
Yeah.
didn't like question myself. And the
Yeah.
drums lined up to this. What are you doing sitting here listening to the same song 10 hours on the same mix? What do you mean? Put the song up already. You got an hour. Let's get it going. Now I got to ask you the questions we ask everybody before they leave. We're going to do it quickly.
Okay.
What is your favorite movie and why?
Oh boy, my favorite movie. It's I have a lot of movies that I enjoy watching.
Yeah, but you got to pick one.
But it would have to be Nightmare Before Christmas
Nightmare Before
because
Christmas.
it's got music.
Okay.
I love the storyline about a character that it's created in a certain way, but always, even though he was created with a little bit of evil, he wants to find the goodness. And he gravitates towards that. And I think that all human beings, we always trying to look for the light, for the goodness in each one of us, no matter how we were created.
Exactly. Okay, so what's the most unexplainable thing that's ever happened to you?
Unexplainable how I got here.
I love it.
Because I can't explain it.
It's a truth.
I envisioned the outcome, but how I got here, it was a miracle.
Yeah.
It's a miracle how a kid from Havana, Cuba, winds up playing in some of the biggest heavy metal artists, from England. Because that was when I was living in Miami. Everybody that I knew, all the musicians, was like, "Man, you're crazy. You're leaving Miami. Look at us. Everything that you're searching for, it's here already.
It's here already. Yeah.
You want to party?
Yeah.
Well,
We
Miami.
can do that.
It's all you're surrounded by by that.
Yeah.
You wanna be with beautiful women?
Yes.
They're all here.
They're all here.
You want to drive fast cars and whatever. I was making money. I had a gig, but no, I wanted to be a recording artist,
Right.
and I didn't want to be labeled as a Miami disco musician. I wanted to be a rock and roll musician.
There you go. Okay. So what's your favorite swear word?
So I don't swear.
He doesn't swear.
I don't swear.
See, I told you some of these questions are
I don't
stupid.
like swearing. I think that's the
You don't got to.
cheap way out.
It is a cheap way out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. One thing you can't do without.
My family, my wife.
He loves his wife. Don't you like a man that loves his wife? Come on, girls. Y'all got to soften up over here. Can't you look? My wife's going to hear this. I love you too, dear. My wife's going to watch this and hear this, and she's going to say, why can't you?
Yeah.
Rudy guy, so. Okay. What is your favorite song and why?
Damn, that's a good one. Was that a swear word? No.
Yeah, that's a good no.
That's as swearing as I get.
Right,
my favorite song. Oh my God. Oh, God Only Knows.
Okay.
Makes me cry every time I listen to it.
God Only Knows.
Beach Boys.
Okay.
God Only Knows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the Beach Boys.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the biggest disaster on a gig you ever had?
Biggest disaster on
We already know
gig.
that.
And I've had a few. I have the tendency that if I have a cable, I trip on it and I do fall. I have fallen a few times.
I broke my leg
big
doing that
gigs.
one time.
Really?
Yeah, in Portland, they turned the light off. And it wasn't necessarily, I think I tripped over a cable, but they turned the light off before we could finish the stage. And then I tripped over something, went down, cracked.
Oh, you broke a leg.
Yeah, I actually broke my thing or fractured it or something. I had to wear a cast for it.
So I'll never say break a leg before you go on.
Yeah, you don't break a leg. At least I waited till after the show. But
Oh
it was
my
still
God,
bad.
really?
Yeah, it was bad.
Really? Okay. It's happened to me. I got hit by a car right before we were going on the road with
gosh.
Whitesnake. It was June 1st, 1987. Got hit by a car, and I had to wear a cast for half of the tour.
Wow.
Half of the tour because we were supporting Motley Crue.
Yeah.
So then we became headliners, and by
Okay.
then the cast was removed.
Right.
So none of this sitting on a throne or some other
exactly,
artists
yeah,
do
yeah.
nowadays. You're sitting on stage on a freaking throne.
Right,
No,
yeah.
I was standing.
Yeah.
I had to move around. I had some new
Yeah.
one-legged
Yeah,
moves
yeah,
on stage. Yeah.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah.
But what are you up to these days, and how do we find you on social media?
I'm hanging at a Commons by Starbucks, having
too.
coffee.
I'm there all the
I
time.
see you there.
That's right. Yeah, Starbucks having coffee.
And when that's on the weekdays. On the weekends, I tour with my new band.
Yeah.
It's an old band, but it's new to me.
Well, now wait a minute. You helped me up that part. I think he's been holding back on us. Tell us about the new band just a little bit.
I'm the new bass player for the Guess Who.
Are you talking about the original guys? I guess who?
Well, it's the original drummer.
Oh, the original drummer. What about the guitar players? What's the name?
Randy.
Randy Bachman?
Randy left right after American Woman in 1969.
Okay, so he's living in
he put together
Canada
Bachman Turner Overdrive.
Exactly,
yeah. And
Okay.
Burton Cummins hasn't been a member officially since like the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's new guys and the original drummer Gary Peterson. They had the original bass player before I joined.
Burton Cummings. I ain't forgot about that name. Okay,
Yeah, great singer, great music.
Let me tell you something. Somebody had a radio show here. Art. I can't think of his name. From the late '60s or early '70s. Art LeBeau. Am I thinking
Art LeBeau? Yeah.
Maybe it's Art LeBeau.
Yeah, Art LeBeau. Yeah.
Don't ask me how.
Yeah.
But I got a hold of some of the tapes of Art LeBeau's shows and whatever,
Really?
and the Guess Who were playing on it.
Yeah.
And I ended up giving those tapes to Randy Bachman, and that's why I know he lives somewhere in Victoria,
Really?
Canada, or somewhere up north, Seattle somewhere.
Yeah.
And I hadn't seen him in years because he used to come around when I was playing with Stevie Wonder. And so years later, I got the tapes, and I said, "Man, I bet you, Randy's never heard this stuff." So I sent it to him. If I'd known Burton Cummings, I could have sent it to him, but I actually keep a copy of it. I just sent them the original thing. I sent it up to Randy.
No, they still tour as separate entities. Burton Cummings and Randy.
Why
Bachman.
can't they just tour together? Why
You know,
can't we all just get along?
They did that a few years ago. Yeah.
Didn't
but
work?
for like a reunion tour.
Didn't work though.
I wasn't in the band at the time. Yeah.
But you always see the band, you be like, it's only two of y'all. Why don't y'all get back together?
I know. I'm a fan. I am a fan.
Me too.
If that
Guess
ever
Who has
happens,
so many hit songs.
you
gotta
got 17 top 40 hits. And double number one.
Yeah, on both flip sides.
Yeah, on both sides.
He comes up with all them great guitar parts and stuff. Burton Cummings.
My favorite song to play on the set list is "Undone," which is such a unusual rock song. It's a little Latin in there, bossa nova-ish.
Burton Cummings. I mean, until you said the name, I ain't heard that in a long time.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah, and we have a new record coming out in September.
Oh, cool.
So we're very excited about that and touring and making music.
Wow.
Yeah.
Burton Cummings.
Yeah.
That's gonna be fun. I'm coming to one of those shows. I like all those songs. These eyes. Okay.
Get you out there for American Woman?
Please.
We got to.
American Woman. They got so many good songs,
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, social media.
Oh, and you can find me on social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram,
Under your name?
Oh, yeah. I'm easy to find. If you see my little Yorkie, me a picture
How many
of my
people are
little
named
Yorkie.
Sarzo?
There's a few. It's actually an Italian name. Yeah.
But for some reason, everybody that's been on my show so far, they got all their social media under their name. And mine, somebody keeps taking some of my stuff. I got Ray Parker Jr. 1. I hate all that stuff. I want just to Ray. I mean, part of the job I'm giving Fran, because I don't know how to do it. I want him to get all my names back.
Yeah.
Get these people. Call up these folks and get my name back.
Yeah,
I want
Fran
my
is really
Yahoo
good about
email. I don't want Ray Parker Jr. 1. I want Ray Parker Jr. at yahoo.com.
Yeah.
I want Ray Parker Jr. at Instagram.com. I want it just Ray Parker Jr.
Yeah.
I'm not asking for much. Just get my own name back.
Yeah. Well, that's what you get for being so awesome. Everybody wants to use your name.
Or late getting into it or something. But give me my name back. I want my name back. So thank you guys so much. We got to end this episode of the show. Ray. Fran's going to cut half of the good stuff out anyway. But I love you guys. Stay tuned. A whole lot more stuff coming. And as you see, everybody on my show is different from the other person.